Let's talk about one of America's most popular and prolific suspense novelists. We're talking about a true giant of the genre. If you've ever walked into a bookstore, seen that huge section with Koontz on the spine, and just felt completely overwhelmed, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to give you a clear roadmap into the incredible world of Dean Koontz. Just to give you a sense of the scale we're dealing with, let's start with a number. Dean Koontz has sold over 450 million copies of his books worldwide. That's not just successful, that's a staggering figure that puts him in the absolute top tier of best-selling authors on the entire planet. And that success? It comes from an unbelievable work ethic. The man has published over 105 novels. Think about that. It's a whole literary universe. And for any new reader, that huge volume of work, it naturally leads to one very big question, right? I mean, when you're standing in front of a bookshelf that holds that much history, it can be pretty intimidating. You could just grab one at random, sure, but you might not get the best introduction to what makes him so unique. So how do you find that perfect entry point? That right there is what we're calling the Dean Koontz conundrum. But don't you worry, we are absolutely going to solve it. This is your clear, simple guide to navigating his massive library and finding the perfect book for you. And to do that, first, you got to understand what you're getting into. So let's start by decoding his style. A lot of people just lump Koontz into the horror category, and, while there are for sure some terrifying moments in his books, that label is just way too simple. His real magic is in how he mixes things up. Here's the key to understanding him. He's a genre bender. He is an absolute master of suspense, but he builds his stories using pieces from all over the place. You'll get a dash of sci-fi, the pacing of a thriller, some seriously scary horror elements, and, this is the important part, a surprising amount of genuine humor and a whole lot of heart. You can pretty much think of it as the Koontz DNA. These are the core ingredients you'll find in almost every novel. You've got ordinary people thrown into these insane, extraordinary situations, which makes them so relatable. The plots are always super fast-paced and tightly woven. There's almost always a chilling, truly evil villain, but, and this is crucial, his stories always champion the power of love and hope to win in the end. Oh, and yeah, more often than not, there's a very, very good dog. Now, early in his career, to write across all these different genres without confusing everyone, Koontz used a whole bunch of pen names. He was Lee Nichols for romantic suspense, Brian Coffey for thrillers, Owen West for straight-up horror. It was his way of experimenting and just publishing at a wild pace. But that all changed in 1986. His novel Strangers became his first hardcover bestseller, and after that, he brought everything together under the one powerful brand, Dean Koontz. So when you're ready to jump in, you basically have two main paths you can take. You can go for a standalone novel, which is a perfect, self-contained story. It's a great first taste. Or if you're ready to really get invested, you can dive into one of his series and follow characters across a bunch of books. There's really no wrong choice here. It just depends on what kind of reading experience you're looking for. For most people, I'd say start with a standalone. They really represent his most iconic, powerful storytelling, all wrapped up in a single package. So we've put together a list of the absolute best places to begin. Okay, if you only remember 3 titles from this whole thing, make it these 3. Watchers, Intensity, and Lightning. Pretty much everyone, fans, critics, agrees these are the crown jewels. They are thrilling, they're easy to get into, and they are perfect showcases of his style. And let's just zoom in on Watchers for a second, because it's a lot of people's all-time favorite. It perfectly captures that Koontz DNA we were just talking about. You've got a lonely guy, a golden retriever with human-level intelligence, and this terrifying monster that escaped from the same lab, and it's hunting them. It has everything. Suspense, so much heart, and honestly, one of the best dogs in the history of literature. Okay, but what if you read that first book and you're hooked? You're ready for the long haul. Well, for that, we need to talk about his series, and more specifically, his most beloved character. It's time to meet Odd Thomas. If Dean Koontz has a signature character, this is the guy. He is the anchor of a 7-book series that is an absolute fan favorite, and for very good reason. So who is this guy? Well, on the surface, Odd's just a humble short-order cook in a little desert town, but he has a secret. He can see and talk to the lingering spirits of the dead. He also sees these shadowy creatures he calls bodaks, and they're drawn to places where something violent and terrible is about to happen. He uses this strange gift to try and stop these disasters, which, as you can probably guess, gets him into a whole lot of trouble. What makes this series so special is that Koontz usually stayed away from them. But he said the character of Odd Thomas was different. He said Odd just appeared in his mind, fully formed, basically demanding that his story be told. And you can feel that special connection when you read it. It's why the series feels so personal and so compelling. So, of course, with this much success, Hollywood comes knocking. But before you rush off to watch the movie versions, there's something you really need to know. The track record for adaptations of his work is, let's just call it, mixed. Yeah, the results have been all over the map. A TV miniseries like Intensity actually got great reviews, mostly because its longer format gave the story and characters room to breathe. But a lot of the movies, like the one for Watchers, were really panned for losing all the nuance of the book. The general feeling is that his dense psychological novels are just incredibly hard to squeeze into a 90-minute movie. And maybe the biggest takeaway here is this. Koontz himself has said very publicly that he dislikes almost every single adaptation of his books. He feels like they miss the heart and the deeper themes. That's a pretty strong signal that if you want the real experience, you gotta read the book. The source material is the real deal. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. His style, his history, the standalone books, the series, even the movies. So let's pull it all together into a simple, clear blueprint for how you can start reading Dean Koontz, like tonight.
It's a super simple 4-step process. Step 1, understand his style. It's suspense with a lot of heart, not just straight up horror. Step 2, pick your path. Do you want a complete story in one go with a standalone, or are you ready for a deep dive with a series? Step 3, and this is the most important one, start here. Grab either Watchers or the first Odd Thomas book. And finally, step 4, once you're hooked, you can go explore the rest of his amazing universe with total confidence.
And that's your guide. You now have the map to one of the most thrilling and rewarding worlds in modern fiction. So the only question left is, which Dean Koontz book are you going to read first?